Well, Nintendo celebrated Mario Day in the maybe laziest way possible. We got some new updates for Fortnite and Overwatch 2 this week. On top of, some just interesting news all around the gaming world. Let's get into our stories tonight, starting off with the Mario Day announcements. Right here, we've got over on X, the official Nintendo account. They had a short video. It was maybe 3 minutes long, showcasing Mario things. And we'll get into the most important details from those things. First of all, we got a release date for Paper Mario Thousand Year Door Remake, May 23rd. So in a couple of months, we'll be playing the Paper Mario Thousand Year Door on Switch, which is super exciting. This is one of the most beloved Paper Mario titles. A lot of people say it's the best one, so that's actually really exciting. Next up in the announcements, we also got a release date for Luigi's Mansion 2, June 27th. So you have roughly a month to fully enjoy Paper Mario before you have to get Luigi's Mansion 2, or Nintendo will come knock on your door and hit you with the Joy-Con. Next up, actually, I'm looking forward to this one as well, but I've not finished or played any of the Luigi's Mansion games, so it's kind of neat. But anyway, we have 3 classic games, Game Boy games, coming to, or they're actually now available as of today, time of this recording, on Switch Online. So for the Game Boy, we've got Dr. Mario, classic game. And then we've got on Game Boy Color, Mario Tennis and Mario Golf, which are actually pretty solid, story-based games. They're not what you think. Yes, there is tennis and golf mechanics in them, but there's an RPG element to it. I thought was pretty cool. So it's definitely worth checking out, at least for a little while. Definitely look into that. If you have Switch Online, hey, these are just part of the basic subscription. No expansion pack needed here. So that's pretty neat. And then in the announcement, which this tweet summarizes it, but we got confirmation that the Mario movie sequel is happening, and they're targeting April 3rd, 2026 for the release date in the US and many other markets. And then later in April in other areas. So it's pretty cool. This tweet's always kind of funny because it starts off with this is Miyamoto. We're now creating a new animated film based on the world of Super Mario Brothers. So it's cool. The sequel to the Mario movie, which is a fantastic movie, definitely deserves the sequel. I just think their Mario Day announcement situation was very, I don't know, it felt just unimportant. It felt like they were like, well, I guess we got to get this out. And they just kind of put together a very short video. It was 3 minutes. And I mean, the release dates are nice, good information to have. There's a Mario Day sale going on through March 16th on the eShop. And then if you buy Switch hardware from, I think, certain retailers, go figure, you get, a $25 either gift card or eShop card. I don't really know. It all just seemed kind of underwhelming in and of itself. It would have been a good time to announce a teaser for something, related to a new Mario game. But instead, we've got a remake and an HD port. HD, I don't know, I guess it's a remake as well. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. They did something to it. It's still exciting. It's always good to have new games on the Switch. And these 2 games, not being trapped on old hardware is always a win in my book. I think these games are going to sell fairly well. It would be really nice if they would release the first Luigi's Mansion on Switch. That would be great if they could just handle that soon. But anyway, all right, so that's it for the Mario Day announcements. Again, like I said, it was just kind of short. Felt like they had to do something, so this is what they did. But good information. We knew the Mario movie was getting a sequel. Now we have a release date. So maybe we'll get a teaser trailer by the end of the year. That's usually how these things go. All right, moving on. Let's talk about Fortnite. Chapter 5, Season 2, Myths and Mortals, has dropped, featuring Olympus and new hotspots on the map, points of interest. Mount Olympus, which looks really cool. There's new weapons and pickups. Overall, this season looks pretty solid. I gotta say, it doesn't look as underwhelming as last season turned out to be. But I don't know. If you've played this season, let me know what you think so far. I have not checked it out yet, but I would like to. The skins look pretty cool. Zeus's Thunderbolt, the Gatekeeper shotgun, the Harbinger SMG, which I'm a big fan of the SMGs in Fortnite. They're just fun in zero build. DMR. I mean, the skins look good. So I'm pretty on board. I need to play. It's been a while since we played Fortnite on the channel. Lightning Bolt is crazy OP. I've seen some good clips, Baker. I've seen some good clips. So yeah, it's pretty solid. Another event went live and is actually bringing me back to checking out Overwatch 2. Let's talk Overwatch 2. Cowboy Bebop. They dropped a really awesome trailer. This collab is the second big second collab done by Overwatch in this style since Overwatch 2 launched. Which is awesome. The skins look really good. You've got Cassidy, you've got Ashe, you've got Sombra, and Mauga, and I think Wrecking Ball all have tie-in skins with the Cowboy Bebop anime, which is legendary in and of itself. And for Blizzard to secure this and do such a good job with these skins, it's so cool. I'm like so excited that the One Punch Man event was super awesome. So if this is an annual thing, we get an anime crossover. It'd be cool if we could get more than one a year, but these things do take time to build. And that animation they did, if you go check out the trailer for this reveal, the animation is really good. Like they did a lot of work to make it look very close to what the opening for Cowboy Bebop was, including using Tank in the music, and it was great. It was great. If you love Cowboy Bebop, check out this event. Especially if you also like Overwatch 2. Like, that's the thing. You're still playing Overwatch, but this is really cool. I really like the way these events work. I think they're really awesome. I wish these skins weren't just, super costly. They really aren't in the grand scheme of things, but it's more you have to buy. And so that's the bummer, right? There's one free skin, and then the rest of them you have to pay for out of pocket, which is fine. I mean, they're probably going to make tons of money on this collab. And I say that, I really don't know. I've kind of fallen off with Overwatch, but maybe it'll bring me back tonight when we play on stream. All right, moving on. So, former PlayStation boss calls exclusivity the industry's Achilles heel. Helldivers 2 has shown that. So, Shawn Layden, former PlayStation boss, was asked about many things, but this is courtesy of PC Gamer. It's a pretty interesting comment. But Shawn Layden was interviewed by GamesBeat, and he was quoted as saying, "When your costs for a game exceed $200 million, exclusivity is your Achilles heel. It reduces your addressable market, particularly when you're in the world of live service gaming or free to play. Another platform is just another way of opening the funnel and getting more people in." And they go on to say, Layden's reasoning here that console exclusivity primarily hurts live service games is a smidge corporate, especially considering many of the PlayStation exclusives I've been drooling over are single player. Still, when he notes that in a free to play world, as we know, 95% of those people will never spend a nickel, you have to improve your odds by cracking the funnel open. He's not necessarily wrong. And I think it's a good point to make, in that Sony's really good at single player games and getting people excited about single player games, even if they are fundamentally very similar kinds of games. We've got a God of War screenshot here. The new God of War is very, very, at its core, similar to Horizon Zero Dawn, which also came out. The not the newest God of War, but the one, the non-subtitled one that relaunched the series. You've got a map, you've got waypoints, you're going to go do side quests, you're going to collect items. Like, the core gameplay is very similar. Spider-Man, much the same way. You're exploring, Now, the narrative aspect of those games is really on point, really enjoyable, and that's what makes those games really good. But Sony has a really good formula there, and they know how to get people excited for those games because they know there's going to be a good story. With something like Helldivers 2, I'm worried that the hype's going to wear off at some point. There's DLC planned. I think the mech DLC is just now dropping or is about to drop very soon. I have not played it yet myself, I would like to get it on a console because let's be real. When I try to play a PC game, it goes horrible. But I would like to get it at some point, and if once I acquire a PlayStation 5, I do plan on playing it. But what if by the time I get around to it, the hype is gone? What if nobody's playing it anymore, or the player numbers have dropped so bad nobody really cares? Hopefully, they can keep it up, but there would be better odds for that happening if it was on Xbox. Now, the Xbox market share is much smaller, but they could leverage Game Pass, and we've seen the Game Pass effect on games that people don't know about or don't know enough about. The Xbox community would be all over this game on Game Pass. If it even came to PC Game Pass, the numbers would stay up for a while. But that remains to be seen. I really hope that maybe it comes to Xbox. I'm not saying it needs to, because it long term doesn't matter for the industry. It only matters for the studio and Helldivers to success. So, realistically, the game's already out. It's very popular, but can they keep the momentum up? Who knows? So I think Shawn Layden's point here is very interesting. It was a neat article. I thought it was worth covering. All right, let's talk about Final Fantasy for a little bit. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has Japan's second best physical launch sales, even for a PS5 game, right behind Final Fantasy 16, which I thought was interesting, considering that this is courtesy of PSU. I'm not too familiar with this site, I'm going to be real honest, but this article dropped last week sometime. But the long-awaited continuation of Square Enix's journey to remake one game by making 3, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, hit shelves worldwide to critical and commercial success. Commercial success is particularly being felt in Square Enix's native Japan, where Famitsu reports that the number for Rebirth physical sales cements it at having the second best physical launch sales numbers ever for a PS5 game, which is super cool. I believe there was some concern that this game wasn't selling as well in the US as expected, but I really think that doesn't matter. The game's, I've been seeing it everywhere on Twitch. A lot of people that I follow that casually enjoy games are picking it up. Remake has got a bit of a resurgence because people are checking it out on PC and stuff. And then I believe it's heavily rumored that the PC release for Rebirth is going to be very soon. Probably by May or June, according to rumors. Now, those are rumors. There's no, I can't corroborate that. Just people are talking. So if the rumors are true, then the game gets a second wind very quickly, kind of like Remake did when it launched on PC, even though that was much later down the line. Hopefully this game, hopefully the third chapter doesn't take as long to come out as the gap between Remake and Rebirth. Now, super cool that it's doing well, but we were talking about PC releases just a second ago, so we can move on to Final Fantasy news. Final Fantasy 16 PC version in final stages of optimization. Expect a demo before release. This is courtesy of Game Informer, so I feel like this is pretty reliable. They go on to say Final Fantasy 16 exclusively hit PS5 last June. However, Square Enix had already revealed a PC version of the action game was in development, which we all knew. The DLC had been out. There's hype behind that. I'm excited that Final Fantasy continues to do well on PC because growing up, I remember when a lot of these games were only on PlayStation, especially Final Fantasy after 7 launched on PS1. You weren't playing them anywhere else. And the best you were going to do is maybe get the PC version of like the original PC version of Final Fantasy 7 and 8, which were super hard to get a hold of, at least if you lived in a small town like I did, or smaller town. You weren't gonna find it easily, even with game stores. But anyway, I'm gonna get off subject there. But it's nice to see that Square Enix hasn't abandoned PC. We've seen, their entire line of games that they've released on PC have done continually well. People pick them up, people enjoy them. I think back to when 15 launched on PC, people were skeptical. Oh, how's it going to run? Is it even going to run? And then all the direct NVIDIA support at the time was super cool. You know, you got better frame rates, ultra wide support, some other great features in the game. So expect more of the same here. You know, these visuals are not getting worse over time. They're getting much better. The graphics are getting better. The stories, you know, are getting more deep and I guess more in depth. I don't really know. I haven't played 16. It looked really cool when it came out. I remember all the hype behind it. So we'll check out the PC demo maybe. But yeah, so that's really cool. I was actually looking forward to seeing how this does on a PC release compared to the PS5, since it was exclusive for a little while to PS5 consoles. But all right, let's move on. In kind of a surprise, we were talking about this game just recently, either on stream or in the game news, but Muliversus is back in action this May. So Warner Brothers, this again courtesy of Game Informer, Warner Brothers has announced that the game is actually coming back May 28th, almost a year after its open beta was taken offline. So this is actually good news, because I thought this game might have been dead, considering all the cuts and layoffs and other things going on across the industry, and we've heard nothing of Muliversus since they took the beta offline, which was a dumb move, Warner Brothers. It was a stupid thing to do, to leave your players with a tease, and then you took it away, and then nobody could enjoy it. So I really don't know if this game's going to come back and be the hype that it was when the beta dropped. You're going to have to draw people back in, and people might have moved on. I really hope not. But anyway, it was really fun. We did play it for a little while. It's free to play. It'll be back on PS5, Xbox Series consoles, PS4, Xbox One, and PC, which is wild. An Xbox One game officially coming out in 2024. But it's not a complicated game. It's not a heavy visual complex game. I thought it was good. I had fun playing it. So yeah, I'll be checking it out when it officially releases. We'll see how it changed over the year since it's been quiet. But speaking of Warner Brothers and their weird decisions, they're now erasing games in our digital future that we were promised is going to be better. Indie devs are being told that their games will be retired from Steam and console stores. So this is courtesy of Polygon. This story went around last week, and I didn't have a chance to cover it. Well, I think it happened after the game news went up anyway. But there's been a lot going on in the digital game space. You know, Sony lost some digital licenses that resulted in users losing access to their purchased videos. Now, I'm assuming that number of users was very small, minimal, microscopic probably. But these are now games that are being delisted everywhere, inaccessible. Some of these are going to be just completely gone. And this is why people pirate games, because you can't delete it off of my account or off of off of a store if I've just got it on a hard drive somewhere. Now, I'm not saying I pirate games, but I understand why. Let's see, there was some other stuff in here about the reasoning behind it. So you've got like Adult Swim games, which is most of what's being targeted here. So Adult Swim games was created to promote some indie titles, very unique games that had come out. So this guy, Michael Molinari, released Sound Dodger Plus, says he doesn't know if they're delisting it or deleting it. Meaning, if you downloaded it, you can re-download it, or it's gone forever and you don't have access to it anymore. He has no clue what they're doing. So that's crazy. Like, there's a ton of games in this list that, you know, may be good, but now, if you've never played them, you may never have the chance to, which is insane. There's no cost for Warner Brothers to keep that up. Anyway, all right, let's move on to the next thing, because I'm going to just rant about that for the next, 5 hours if I don't rein it in. Excuse me. All right, so we talked about Apple and Epic a little bit. With the EU rules, Epic tried to launch their own app store to put Fortnite back on iOS, at least in European territories. Apple was like, no, we don't trust you, and banned them. And then 24 hours later, less than 24 hours later, went, okay, you're unbanned, because the EU was like, hey, you can't just do that. It's a whole back and forth. If you guys remember the big brouhaha with Apple and Epic over Fortnite on iOS, it's back in the spotlight now because of the EU laws, their Digital Markets Act, which requires Apple make their platform open to other app stores and content stores in a way that Apple does not like. And if we all know how Apple works or would like to work, they don't want anybody releasing software that they don't get a cut of or approve on their devices. Now, I understand that to a certain degree, but even on a Mac laptop, I can install third-party apps if I want to. And I think Apple has nothing to lose by allowing that. You know, on a wide spectrum, we've seen, I don't know, it's been PCs for the last forever. You can do whatever you want on it. And Apple instead wants us to go in a backwards direction where they tell you what you can and can't have and delete stuff off your phone, and insanity, right? So Epic's trying to reverse that, and they're trying to push their app store to release Fortnite, and it's drama. It's very silly. Hopefully they come out on top, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Epic Games handling this, because it just feels like more of the same. You know, it feels like every few years we have the same conflicts coming up over and over and over, whether it's gaming or capitalism or whatever. There's always this, this exchange, and I feel like we went through this once before, and now we're doing it, but this time with some legal standing for it to be allowed. I just hope it can get resolved in a way that people that want to play Fortnite back on iOS don't have to do it through cloud gaming. But the cloud version is pretty nice on xCloud. It's totally free. You can play it for free, and it's pretty fun. It works really well. So do that instead, and Apple won't get mad at you. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm off the rails. All right. Let's talk about our last story, which I thought was super interesting. Excuse me. I've been talking for way too long. Microsoft and Rare's Sea of Thieves is currently the #1 most pre-ordered game on PlayStation, which is hilarious. This is like I don't know, super surprising. This is courtesy of Windows Central, but basically, since it was listed, Sea of Thieves is so hyped up for PlayStation fans that it has taken the top spot for pre-orders. And that's really awesome. Like, it's cool to see that people on PlayStation were hungry for a good, different kind of pirate game. We've got something from Rare releasing on PlayStation. It is insane that this is happening. I just love it. I love to see that more people are going to get to enjoy this game. And yeah, it's pretty nice. People may be upset that Microsoft decided to release some exclusives on PlayStation, but it just means that these devs can keep making these games. And more people need to play service games for there to be a service for the gamers to play on. So what are you going to do, right? What are you going to do? This is a totally smart business move, and it looks like it's already paying off. But with that wraps up the game news for tonight. Oh, excuse me. Thanks for being here. If you are watching this live, we're about to play some Overwatch 2. If you are watching this the day after on YouTube, well, let me know what you think about any of this news that we covered down below in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next game news or the next live stream. But yeah, I'm going to go play video games now, so see you later. Bye.